Sorry, that was Mike. Coach, for you. Okay. First of all, congratulations. Before the game, nobody gave Nashville a long shot against Monterrey. What do you have to say about that? And second, I'm guessing you guys during halftime saw the goal that wasn't given to Hani, that incredible goal. What did you tell the team? How do you manage to keep focus after watching that incredible goal?
Well, to the first part of it, nothing changes. You know, nobody ever gives us a chance. And I think that's part of maybe the internal drive of the group. We always seem to be, you know, the ugly sister, as it were. As far as the goal's concerned, I actually haven't seen it again. But what I would say is this: the actual build up to it and then the finish was so incredibly good. I would have to assume that for whatever reason the goal was disallowed. It was a major reason, a very important reason. Have any of the guys in here and ladies seen it? If you have, you probably have a better idea than I. But I would seriously question why that goal is scratched off.
Thank you.
Just 1 second, guys.
Fafa, let me ask you about the goal. Sam is in the middle, wide open, screaming for the ball. I don't know if you saw him, but you had a laser eye on the goal. What were you thinking as you cut into the box?
My initial thought when Sam flicked it was run to the corner and try to kill some time. But once I saw the defender moving a bit slower, I figured just attack him, and I didn't really look up. And once I got in, I was just looking for a little space to get a shot off with the goalie being half blinded. So I'm glad it went in because I probably would have hurt something.
Gary, well, for the record, some of us do give you a chance. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say that.
Appreciate
I say that. Honestly, we did think that you guys had a shot at this, even though, and it probably is better when you do it against a team like Monterrey, isn't it?
They are a very, very good side. You know, when I looked at the games that they've played in this tournament, couple of games that they've had in the early part of their season, they're an almost complete side. They have very good technicians. They play at a very good pace. They have great creative individuals in the side. You know, they have pace in certain areas. And the other thing is as well, you know, this is obviously a brand new tournament, but I think they've done a wonderful job of winning inside 90 minutes to this point. And they've stayed away from home for a long period of time. You know, it takes an awful lot of substance and guile to keep going to, you know, somebody else's backyard, if you like. So we knew fully the sort of game we were in for. There was a lot of respect needed for Monterrey, but I think there's a fine line between that respect and maybe giving them too much, and they end up taking charge of the game for too long. I thought the guys did a wonderful job of starting the game off on a really bright note, aggressive note. The goal that was disallowed, a couple of other opportunities that came our way. But when we were under pressure, which I think we all felt we were going to be at certain points in the game, that there was that internal fibre and spirit that you've seen from this group so many times, to deny them the opportunity to get back in the game. And I think it's that combination and balance that has seen us end up as winners today, because it was always going to be a very, very tight game and there was going to be very little in it.
We'll go here in the third row.
Gary, we saw against Club America, you guys had a pretty front foot approach again tonight, and then even after going up a goal, I mean, you guys continued to push. I'm curious, what went into preparation for that this week? And Dax, kind of a similar question for you. What was it like on the field, and what was the communication of how you guys were going to approach it?
If you want to start, mate, I don't mind.
Well, yeah. First of all, full respect to Monterrey. They're one of the best teams that I think we've played since our existence started in 2020. For us to be able to win the game outright in regulation, 2 great goals, clean sheet. It's a really great performance from us, and it's a really great feeling to beat a team that good, knowing that we have a final coming up here at home against another great team that's going to do very similar things to what Monterrey tries to accomplish in possession. So the dialogue leading up to the game was, we're at home, we want to be aggressive, we want to be on the front foot, we want to try to put them under pressure, especially early on in the game, which we were able to accomplish. I have seen the goal back, Hani's goal back, and it's a shame that they chalked it off, because I don't think Alex Mouil has anything to do with distracting the goalkeeper. I'm assuming that is why they called it off, and so it's a frustrating one, because you start the game on the front foot, you get the goal, and you think you're just going to continue to go on from there and be able to absorb pressure, hit them on the counterattack. So we wanted to keep our lines tight. Alex Mouil, his job was to help us in the midfield, and then when their fullbacks got high and wide, tried to do a job on their fullbacks, because they overload you in so many areas. It's very difficult to defend. So I thought the guys, especially defensively, put in a really good shift. It's hard to single out anyone, but our captain Walker with the header that leads to the goal that puts us on our way, just an immense performance from him. And I think just everyone in this tournament, we've really bought into getting back to, I think, what made us so strong early on in our existence, which was compact, making sure we're hard to break down, trying to be brave in moments of possession on the ball. Monterrey counter-pressed us a lot, and at times we lost it, but we never, I think our body language throughout this whole tournament has just been fantastic. We've been really positive, and we're going to need that again in the final. So it's obviously been a good run for us, and we're just hoping to take this positive momentum and carry it over to a big game coming up.
I think Dax has covered an awful lot there, Ben. All I would add to that is there's not an awful lot of time between the games. We all know that. So the loading on these guys has been enormous. What they have been able to do is take on board some subtle shifts in the way that we've played against slightly different opponents, and they've executed magnificently well.
Dax, coming into the season, you talked about thinking about retirement and all that, and then you come into this season, you continue to play a big role for this team. 2 questions for you. First, did you expect to play as big of a role so far, and how does it feel to play such a big role and lead your team to a cup final?
God, it's a good question. I think I went into this season not knowing what my future held and just wanting to enjoy it as much as I possibly could. I think I've been on 1-year contracts for the last year or 2, and I think that's the first time in my career that's ever happened. And so there's a little bit of nervousness that comes along with that, not knowing what the next year holds, but there's also a little bit of freedom that comes along with that, because you just enjoy it. I enjoy coming to training every day with this group of guys and this staff, and just trying to challenge myself to continue to play at a high level. And there are moments where you doubt yourself. I've doubted myself this year, especially after the Cincinnati game at home, where honestly I thought this could be it for me. But I had a lot of people pick me up. The coaching staff has done a great job of, I think, managing my minutes and my body. When I feel like I've played well, I want to start every game, and Gary tells me I'm coming out. I'm secretly pissed off, but there's so much respect there that I know that he's looking out for my best interest, but also for the team. And I think that's the reason why you go out and you sign a Jan Gregus, you sign a Sean Davis, you have a Brian Anunga to be able to come in and be able to rotate guys in the midfield, because that's what makes our team successful. So listen, I've just really tried to enjoy each game as it comes, because every player will tell you, I want to play till I'm 50, but I don't think that it does me any good thinking past next week. I'm just trying to enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, Dax, kind of piggyback off of that. You've been here since the beginning of 2020, but Nashville has never been to a stage of this magnitude, especially with Miami coming in, Messi's coming in. What are your thoughts on going to the final for the first time as a club, and just what you can tell your teammates?
Well, it's a big moment for our club. We've made the playoffs every year in our existence. I believe we made a conference semifinal, and I believe we made a semifinal of the Open Cup, where we lost. So we've been close, and we haven't quite been able to get over that hurdle for one reason or another. I think part of the reason why you put together such an experienced team is to be competitive right away. And we've been competitive right away, but we haven't quite been able to get over that final hurdle. And so now tonight is a night where we take all those experiences that we've had the last 4 years and we put it to the test against, again, one of the best teams that we've played since I've been here. So to be able to come through this tournament, beating Cincinnati, beating Club America, beating a good Minnesota team handily, and then obviously beating Monterrey, we should be full of confidence. I can tell you right now that there's no one in that locker room right now that's afraid or scared of the moment and scared to play this Miami team. Now, with that being said, the respect level for what they have been able to accomplish in this tournament with the players that they've brought in, namely, Messi, we have to respect that. I mean, they've been absolutely on fire, and for good reason. So I think it's a great challenge, man. I think it's a wonderful challenge, and this is the reason why you play the game. You go through the hard preseasons, and you go through the tough losses to build up some character to get you to a moment like this. And so we'll be ready. We'll attack it with no fear, and we'll see where the chips fall when the final whistle blows.
Coach, I'm sure you're enjoying, you're celebrating this win right now, but when does your attention turn primarily to the fact that you've got into Miami and Messi coming into your place Saturday?
In about 5 minutes. Yeah, there's just not a lot of time. We were lucky enough to watch a good portion of the game before ours really got underway, the pre-game. And as Dax has said, it's absolutely astounding, amazing. I think we run out of adjectives that describe what's going on in Miami. They're playing such good football, they're scoring goals, they look a side that are unrecognisable from a month ago. I've never, in all the time I've been in football, seen a transformation in a team that we're currently seeing. So there's an individual in that group, I'm sure, that has more impact than others, but Messi himself has brought so much more out of the guys around him. There are players in that team that are unrecognisable again. They're just playing at a completely different level. So there's an awful lot to consider. But there was tonight. This is a very, very good side that we've just played. They certainly don't have the greatest player possibly to have walked the planet. That's a fact. But I do believe that in a cup final and at home, as Dax has well said, we'll be prepared. There'll certainly be no fear in the way that we play. And we'll try and give ourselves the very best opportunity to do what nobody else has done at the moment, which is beat Miami.
With that, we'll go with the final question, Miguel.
Coach, taking some of what Dax was saying, you've been here since before the beginning. Now you take two giants from Mexico, America, Monterrey. Now the world is watching you. On Saturday, Messi is coming. Now you're already qualified for Concacaf Champions Cup next year, and you mentioned how nobody gives Nashville a chance all the time. Now, what's your message when you see now how globally people are going to start recognizing Nashville? What's your message about that?
Well, I've been saying for many months, and obviously nearly 4 years now, that there's actually more to this group than maybe meets the eye. I think each one of you individuals in here will all have your take on how we play, what you consider us to be, and how we project ourselves. That's why you're media. You know, you're able to put that out. However, I do believe there are a lot of people that are missing the point. And the point is that, you know, there is a very big difference between a side that is just purely defensive, as a lot of people say, and a side that is well organised. A well organised side have got balance. They have the opportunity, the wherewithal, the appreciation to manage the ball and to create chances, as we do. But we also have the internal fibre and spirit, which is the recruitment process of bringing guys in that have that sort of character. So I think the message maybe that I want to send is just look a little bit closer, you know, just have a deeper look under the surface and see that we do actually have some really good football players. They're just incredibly spirited.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the press conference.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dax.
Thanks, guys.